Our truth for today comes from Psalm 119, verses 4. You have ordained your precepts that we should walk in them diligently. Oh, that my ways may be established to keep your statutes. Let us pray. Lord, your divine precepts are right, rejoicing the heart. The commands set forth the right path of life, producing joy in the midst of life's difficulties and trials. Your precepts are not burdensome when fully and faithfully obeyed. For you promised then the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations of the earth. O Lord, your precepts are not human inventions, shifting cultural preferences, but expressions of your character, holy, wise, just, and life-giving. Your law is perfect, restoring the soul. Your laws are without error and beneficial for life. Lord, may our elected officials today acknowledge with Nebuchadnezzar, who spoke these words in ancient times, now I bless, praise, and honor the Most High God who lives forever. For his dominion is an everlasting dominion. His kingdom endures from generations to generation. All the inhabitants of the earth are accounted as nothing, and he does according to his will in the host of heaven and among the inhabitants of the earth. And no one can ward off his hand or say to him, what have you done? All his works are true. All his ways are just. And you, O Lord, are able to humble those who walk in pride. End quote. Help us to cling to your precepts, strengthened by your faithful word, O Lord, our Savior. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, members, we're in the roll call. Please record your presence. We're in the roll call.
Welcome to State House Today. I'm Gavin Jackson, live here in the State House lobby. It is Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, and it's the third day of a special called session called by the governor after both chambers adjourned sine die last Thursday. So it's day 3 of this special session with the House already gaveling in. We're going to go back to the chamber after we wrap up here in a moment. Just give you a little heads up on what we expect to see happen today on this third day. Of course, the Senate is still out. They're waiting for the House to send them a map, which we expect could happen as early as tomorrow. That's because late Monday we saw some changes to the rules and how this entire debate is going to be going down. There were about 500 amendments on the desk yesterday, and they got through about 9 of those amendments due to some extended winding discussions and debates. It was just kind of typical how you would expect this process to go, as it has gone before in previous long debates where the minority party, the Democrats, only have a few cards to play, and that comes in the terms of 500 amendments on the table. So that's what they were doing. They were moving through that. And of course, There was a lot of contention between some Republicans who were trying to get some of these amendments ruled out of order, dilatory, et cetera, even though Democrats are making the argument that they have not had the chance to really vet this entire congressional redistricting process. Again, this is the entire expedited process that we've been doing ever since that Supreme Court decision came out on April 29th. In the last week of session, we did see that map move through the process in the House, which is where we're at right now, having this debate on the House floor, as Republicans are trying to pick up one extra district in the state of South Carolina. Right now, there are 6 Republican-controlled House districts. They're trying to get that 7th one, which is the 6th congressional district by Jim Clyburn. So there's hopes that this map that they're pushing through right now will give them an additional Republican seat, though there's a lot of concern if that will even happen. We've heard that from Senate Majority Leader Shane Massey before. We are interested to see how that debate's going to go down in the Senate once they get this map, which is expected to happen possibly as soon as Wednesday, like I'm saying. That's because, again, we are going to see some restricted debate on the House floor starting today. No longer hours on amendments and only passing 9 through. Yesterday, the House Rules Committee held a very quick meeting that they barely alerted folks to change the rules and how this debate's going to go. They passed a quick resolution that would limit debate, and then it got taken up on the House floor, and it passed along party lines. And essentially what it says is that each member, all 124 members, will be able to introduce one amendment. So you're going from 500 amendments to 124 technically, but likely more just like 35 because that's how many Democrats there are. And we just heard from the members of the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus that some of them will not even be introducing some amendments to this process because they think it's rigged. They don't think it's a proper way to go about doing this. And again, there has been limited public input on this entire process, and that's one of their biggest concerns here too. So once a member does bring an amendment to the floor, there will be only 3 minutes for them to speak for it, and there's only 3 minutes to speak against it. So it'll be interesting to see if Democrats use both 3 minutes to their advantage here. Again, that would only put us out about a couple hours into this debate, put us into the afternoon, at which point another rule that was introduced and passed would mean that members would only have 10 minutes to speak on the bill itself. So each member would have 10 minutes to speak about the entire redistricting map. So if you again multiply that by 35 members, that's 350 minutes, about 5 hours if you do the math somehow. And we'll see that debate stretch out into the evening, at which point we expect to see a second reading vote. That's the critical vote to move this along. And then it will get a third reading vote tomorrow and go right to the Senate, where we are still trying to figure out how it's going to move through the Senate, if it's going to go to the Senate Judiciary Committee for a brief hearing process. Again, they have not been dealing with this entire process like the House has been. They've had 2 subcommittee hearings on this. They had 1 full Judiciary Committee hearing on this, and they've been doing all the debate work on this. We've only seen over in the Senate discussion on it when it came up about the sine die resolution, changing that resolution to allow lawmakers to take this up after sine die, which we did see fail because 5 Republicans joined the 12 Democrats in killing that 2/3 vote needed to have them take up redistricting in the off session, which we're at right now, which is why the governor issued his executive order last Thursday calling lawmakers back into session. And while he can't tell them exactly what to do, he did outline in his executive order that he wanted to see them take up redistricting in light of that decision from the Supreme Court, even though it's not applicable to South Carolina, because our maps are constitutional. As recently as 2024, when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled them as such, there was no racial gerrymandering on our maps. It is all political gerrymandering in our maps. Therefore, it's not applicable to what we saw in that Calais decision from the Supreme Court. So that's been a big rallying cry too, not only from Democrats, but also a handful of Republicans who we expect to see defect when it comes to the vote today. We have seen some that are dissatisfied with this, but we did hear from House Majority Leader Davey Hyatt last night that they're not concerned about any widespread defections, and they expect that map to make it over to the Senate, where its future is going to be a little bit more TBD, as we keep saying on all this, because they are a more deliberative body. This has been a 3-day process, this special session in the House. It's kind of naive to think that it's going to take if the same amount of time, if not less time, to do it over in the Senate. It's definitely going to take a good bit of time over there, so they want to flush through this and really start looking at some of these districts. And again, we talked to Senate Majority Leader Shane Massey. This process typically takes months. The last time we went through this in 2021 and 2022, the Senate held 21 public meetings across the state. The House held about 11 meetings. You are rushing this process through to have just 2 subcommittee meetings so far with a handful of people, and now you're rushing it through the Senate at the same time too. It's going to be interesting to see what we hear from Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Luke Rankin, who talked on the floor recently about how he wants this process to be done correctly, which will be interesting to see how he interprets that, since, again, we are rushing this through in hopes of trying to get this map done by May 26th. That's what Republicans want to see done, because that's the day that early in-person voting starts. It's also the day after the Memorial Day weekend, which is this weekend, compounding everything in this timeline that's been rapidly expedited, that was not on anyone's radar until recently, until that Supreme Court decision, and of course, until President Donald Trump weighed in and applied pressure to Governor McMaster, asking him, so what we're told, to call this special session, putting that pressure in there ever since the Senate decided not to take up redistricting in the off session. So a lot of things have been happening that we did not expect to happen, and they're moving forward pretty fast today. But again, we're going to see limited debate today, and we expect to see a vote on this map later today, and then move that through over to the Senate by Wednesday, at which point the Senate will be ready to gavel right in and take up that map and start their process over there. So a lot happening. We've been having some press conferences here today. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of tactics the Democrats deploy on the floor today. But again, they're limited to the timing here, and we kind of have an idea roughly about how this is going to go and what will be done just based on the timing in this rules resolution that was passed yesterday by the House Republicans. So we're going to send you over to the House right now. It's going to be a long day. We'll be giving you all those updates and carrying this live for you on ETV World and on youtube.com/SCETV News. We'll bring you more tomorrow and see what happens. I'm Gavin Jackson, off to the House.
Test 1, 2. Ms. McDaniel.
I have all members record your presence. All members record your presence. And
Mr. Kirby, please come to the rocket. Mr. Teeple.
all right, have all members record your presence.
Blake.
All right. All members record your presence. Getting started now. Polls are closed. Clerk will tabulate. Quorum is present. All right. We're now on special order. House Bill 5683. Clerk will read.
5683. Rankin, the First Amendment, Govan, substitute 15. Govan. Pass over. I got it. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Next amendment. Clerk will read.
Pastor Jones, 16. Pastor Jones, 16.
All right. Mr. Jones is recognized to explain the amendment. Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, I'll remind you, pursuant to the rules, you have 3 minutes to explain the amendment. Your clock starts now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, members, Sergeant, help me. People got conversations, they can take them outside the chamber, please. Sorry, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, you're recognized.
Again, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, colleagues. The purpose of this amendment, let me read it so I can tell you exactly what I'm hoping to get your consideration on this morning. It says the General Assembly may not reapportion districts for the United States Congress unless there is a post-decennial census reapportionment, a court order, or a constitutional necessity has been demonstrated. The reason I'm putting this forth, I'm trying to give us a chance to walk back from this, what we already moving down this road on. I want to remind us that the Louisiana case did not tell us to do this. The Louisiana case simply said that the court would not interfere if we chose to do this. So right now we are operating in our own discretion. We are deciding how we want to shape this state. And so I want to ask my colleagues to consider the power of precedence. Is this the move you want to make? Is this the thing you want to set in motion? This amendment does not say the state does not have the power to do this. What this amendment says is that the state knows how to restrain itself for the sake of the integrity of our democracy. Mr. Speaker, with that being said, I move for passage.
All right, pending question is adoption of amendment number 16. Mr. Newton moves to table amendment 16. Mr. Garvin requests a roll call to non-members second that request. Non-members do. Voting on the board, tabling motion of amendment number 16.
Ms. Wetmore, Ms. Wetmore, Mr. Kirby, Ms. Wetmore, Ms. Wetmore, Blake.
All right, body stand at ease for no, not 10 minutes, for 7 minutes.
When the sun of Carolina mounts the eastern sky, proudly stands our alma mater on the hilltop high. Arch maroon floats for a Claflin fair o'er thee. May we all be leal and loyal to thy memory.
My name is Dewan Wormack, and I had the distinct pleasure of serving as the 9th president at this historic institution. We're the #1 ranked historically black college university in the state of South Carolina and top 10 in the country. And so what makes us special is the people. It is the people that buy into the culture, it is the people that buy into the mission, and it's the people that buy into the vision. Social justice is our focal point as an institution. Mass incarceration is a social justice issue. Healthcare disparities is a social justice issue. So the university has put resources to ensure that we do everything in our power to combat some of those healthcare disparities. Our intentional focus, 100% of it is ensuring that our community is safe and well. And when I say well, holistically, we began to look at some data impacting African Americans in Orangeburg County, and we began to think about our own family trajectory. And I talked about my mother dying from hypertension, my grandmother dying from hypertension, my grandfather passed from hypertension, and how it's generational in our communities, but not talking about the preventative work that comes behind it. And so I approached our computer science faculty member, Dr. Lyles, and said, hey, I want to do something very creative and innovative, something that can really combat healthcare disparities, but it's also to infusing technology in that work.
I am Karina Lyles, and I chair the Department of Math and Computer Science, and I'm also an Associate Professor of Computer Science at Claflin University. Computer science is a way for us to build solutions to everyday problems. We have a very forward-thinking president, and so it's very easy to get him on board with the smart home. We met and talked about things that we could do as a university to make an impact in our community, because we understand that we have a purpose here. I presented him the ideal about the smart home, and he loved it.
We purchased a home in the community, and within that home, we began to invest all of the technology that is there.
It's very important for the smart home to be a home and not a house, because we want this health consciousness to just be a part of everyone's life. We're really trying to shift lifestyles here. Imagine going into your home, but then having the additional amenities that help support the things that you need to do to take care of your health and well-being. Imagine walking into the living room, taking your blood pressure, then realizing it's elevated. The house will recognize that as well. It might dim the lights, and it might change the colors of the lights, and then it might also play soothing music. While the home is doing these things in response to your medical state, it's also informing you. So we have the displays around the house because that's the way to engage and interface with the user. The house will alert you that your blood pressure is elevated and then also give some recommendations and things that you can do to alleviate this issue. Now let's imagine you woke up from a night's rest and you got up as you normally do to get ready for work or to get ready for school or just to start your day. When you go into the bathroom, the smart mirror gives you all of your sleep stats. And it shows the graphs, it shows the charts, it tells you the cycles of sleep that you were in and how long you were in those stages. It tells you how much you might have snored. It takes the information from the bed and then it makes sense of it to tell you slept well last night, or if you didn't, here are some things that you might want to do to get through your day. So you might want to think about reordering your to-do list because something that requires more cognitive load might not be what you want to start out with because it's just going to make you more drained and more tired. If you go into your bedroom, there's a workout mirror. The workout mirror allows for the cardio workout, but it also allows for meditation and yoga. A big part of the smart home is providing that health education. There are going to be times when someone might need to go to the hospital or to visit their doctor, and there may be times when you might just need to relax. And so giving them that education will help them to determine when it's time to seek medical attention or when there's some things that we can do at the home for self-care. We want to rely on the community of the individual to give them the best services possible. And so with the smart home, this data about your health can be sent directly to your health care provider. It can be sent to your doctor or your nurse or even a family member who might be monitoring your health. It allows that open line of communication, but it allows that transparency that doctors sometimes need, or sometimes we might not think of things that we should share with
Corrected.
Chiro is home. It's just unique. It's a pretty town. Our slogan is the prettiest town in Dixie. Well, I was born here, and I don't mind saying my age. In 1940, I stayed here through high school, attended college in Baltimore, Maryland, and I taught in Georgia a year after graduating, came here and taught 4 years, and decided I wanted to go back to the big city. But my love stayed for Chiro because it's home. It's not like being in the city. It's a small town, they're there for you in time of need. You're on a first name basis with everybody, so the closeness here, to use the teenage word, is awesome. So I have those close connections with here. I traveled all over the world, but Chiro will always be home.
Straw Fish Hatchery was started out as a federal hatchery in the 40s. It transitioned to a state-operated and run facility in the late 60s, early 70s. We raise largemouth bass and smallmouth bass, which we are the only producer of smallmouth bass in the state of South Carolina. We have 31 production ponds on site, ranging from a 1/10 acre to 1.5 acres is our largest pond. What we do is we have, I guess, a quota, so to speak, of what our production needs are. And so once those production needs are handed down to individual facilities, individual hatcheries, we look at our quota, we look at our available pond space, and we delineate those pond spaces to produce the number of fish and or the size of fish that we need to produce. Once we harvest those ponds, we achieve our numbers or we count our numbers. They're distributed throughout the state to different public bodies of water, whether it's a public lake or public fishing access of a river. Annually, we have a Kids Fishing Day event in September where our Pond 1 is designated specifically for that purpose. So year-round, we maintain that pond with feeders and we stock it accordingly. We keep a count and a tally of what is harvested on Kids Fishing Day, so we'll supplement and stock that pond. And it'll have 60 to 70 kids. Primarily it's to attract, I guess, newer anglers to fishing. And so it's great for the community because, like I said, you got your kids, you got your parents, brothers, cousins, nephews, and they come out and get to enjoy a morning of fishing. It is a small community. From what I've gathered, meeting with folks, and like I said, a lot of people that I've met that come here, at least on a regular basis or what have you, or Kids Fishing Day, for example, they're the people that come every time. And they're here anytime we need help or, vice versa.
The town of Cheraw is just so quaint, so friendly. I'm originally from Asheboro, North Carolina, and it reminds me a lot of my hometown, just a little smaller scale, but a lot more history here in Cheraw. I came July of 1988, and the business has been here since 1898. So I've been here for 31 years. One of my goals when I got out of pharmacy school was to possibly open a pharmacy, and so I've been down here ever since. I think being a good neighbor pharmacy is just being welcoming to the people that come in our doors, treating them just like I would treat a member of my own personal family. And I want them to feel like they can come and talk to me at any time. It's not an interruption. That's why I'm here, is to help to serve them. Sure, it's a business, but first and foremost, if they can come to me and feel confident, then they're going to want to come back, and that's good for all of us. I think there's lots to do, lots to learn about the history of Cheraw State Park, a lot of historical areas in the town that are just waiting to be explored, and you can just learn a lot about our culture.
I think the community is a really close community. The businesses especially, and those that have the ability to do so, they are trying to bring things here for everybody, so all age groups. When I think about growing up here, I think of like family and just kind of close-knit friends. The friends that I had in primary school were my same friends when I got to high school, and we're still friends to this day, and they still come back home, the ones who don't live here. So really close and family-oriented.
There's different activities here for us to do. A lot of people think just because it's a small town, there's not a lot. If you come out on a Friday night, it's no doubt that the stands are packed at the football game. You come out to the basketball games, baseball. Cheraw supports their athletics.
The things that I did when I was younger living here, they are still trying to hold on to those things. People who have left, they come back for those traditions. So they might not live here, but then 4th of July, they come home to visit family, and they're making sure they're downtown for the fireworks show and the different activities that are taking place. So it's definitely a traditional town.
The things that we did when we were young are the same things that we're trying to do and keep in place for our kids. So our kids keep in place for their kids, and just continue to have that tradition and know that you have that hometown feel when you come to Cheraw.
This is our town, Cheraw, South Carolina.
This is our town.
This is our town.
This is our town, Cheraw, South Carolina.
Latta was a good place to grow up. I grew up in the house that my granddaddy built when Latta was formed. It's named for a railroad engineer, R.J. Latta. He was from York County and who was a surveyor. The town was drawn by Mr. Latta just before the turn of the century. the railroad came through, and that was a big deal. And if you look at the map and you look at the railroad, every 7 miles you'll see a depot. The depot was the thing that made the town, because people could get their goods to the depot so they could be transported mostly up north, cotton particularly, and tobacco. When the roads came, 301, 501, that was a big deal because Louder is about halfway between